Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show, number 102 for June the 5th, 2019. Well, that's at least what the place card says, so I'm going to go with that. But speaking of place cards, thank you, Mr. Russell Frost, for putting that together for us, as you do every week and do such a fine job.
Yeah, you are welcome, sir. Did you just say it was June 19th?
He did.
Okay, I need to know because, I'm kind of on the edge of insanity, and I want to make sure it's either I'm slipping or you kind of oopsie.
No, it's the 5th. We were just kidding.
That's
it's the
fine.
5th.
It's June 102nd. Welcome to the 19th episode of the Tesla Live.
Exactly. Welcome, everybody. Our next panelist, Mr. Tony Schaefer in Chicago. How are you today, sir?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Weather's actually participating for today. And I was thinking maybe this was like the Goldbergs, if you've ever watched that. It was June something, 2019.
Could be any date. Never know.
Yeah.
I have
never
no
know.
idea. I don't get that reference.
No Shot of the Outside. It could be December.
You've never watched The Goldbergs. The Goldbergs is a really good sitcom.
I saw a reference to that same stuff, but I haven't seen
It's based in the late 70s or 80s?
80s, yeah.
80s, okay. Yeah. I've seen a couple episodes.
Yeah.
Last but not least, Mr. Casey Green, who's wearing purple today.
Purple, yes.
Mr. Green is wearing purple. How are you today, sir?
I'm well. How are you all?
Excellent.
Yes.
Can I ask Casey a question?
What's that?
Casey, there's a hamburger on the shelf behind you.
Oh, yes, there is.
That's what I just. Oh, it is the Impossible Burger.
They were out of stock one day when I went through, and they gave me an I'm sorry card, and I followed the instructions, and I got an Impossible Burger.
They mailed you one.
Yes. Got an
Wow.
Impossible Burger and this Impossible hat.
Wow.
See, they make impossible products. They don't make nada products.
Right.
I'm sorry. I just saw a hamburger sitting there, and I went,
Why is there a hamburger on the shelf?
That hamburger's been there for weeks. So
Has it really?
It was either really stale or it was drop. One or the other.
It might have been last week, or this might be the first time. I don't remember when I put it on the shelf.
I think I saw it the previous week. Didn't mention anything.
Okay.
I thought I'd just let it slide. Well,
perfect.
to start off this week's news in the Tesla life, there was a huge interview that happened, I guess, at the very beginning of the week on Ride the Lightning. And Mr. Ryan McCaffrey got an hour-long interview with Elon Musk. And if you don't know, Mr. McCaffrey's Ride the Lightning has been in operation now for 200 episodes. And certainly is a cheerleading Tesla site. He prides himself as being a fanboy, but being evenly handed, as he says. But he was able to get an interview with Elon. He went to Fremont one evening, and with his this audio help he had with him, they were able to record the podcast and publish it last Sunday. I thought it was a good interview. They touched on a number of subjects that we're going to kind of follow up with. I felt the interview was evenly paced. Certainly, Elon got to wander where Elon does wander as he's talking. He's not exactly stuck to a script, but Ryan was able to point him in certain directions to get answers to what he was after, which was good. But at the beginning, they talked a little bit about Model 3 and what they felt what Elon felt was some of the toughest parts of designing the car, maybe some of the trade-offs that they had to make when making the car that was supposed to be obviously a cheaper version of Model S. And he came up with a couple of different, issues that they had run across. He felt the car was tough to make sleek in a sedan version. He feels that, of course, a sports car is much easier to do that. but there was some trade-offs he had to make with the nose of the car. There was a trade-off with a single screen instead of a dual screen. And one of the interesting parts I didn't know about was that the width of the car was actually determined by how wide Japanese parking machines are. And I never heard of this before. But apparently, that's a consideration you have to have if you're going to sell a car in Japan, is the width of the car. There is a maximum width that they had to abide by. Have you guys ever heard of that before this podcast?
I had, but in passing, so I put out of my mind until he brought it up again.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with yes. That's common knowledge, just so that I can act smug. I thought everybody knew that.
He chose, like, there's two designs, and he chose the maximum width of the narrower design rather than. He said that the Model S, well, not the Model X, but the Model S was just barely. It was within tenths of an inch of fitting in the machine, and so everybody just said, "Nah, we're not going to park that." And so this time around, he went with the maximum for the smaller machine.
So when they say parking machine, Casey,
it's a car Pez dispenser.
Okay, so
Yeah.
This is an automated machine that would put the car onto a parking level or an area to park the car, and then can automatically retrieve the car when it's required.
Yeah, the least expensive, which is still very expensive model, would be just a simple elevator. It's got just shelves. You could fit up to 5 cars or so. And
Right.
then you've got the awesome robots, which is cool.
Okay, I'll have to look that up on YouTube.
All right, don't move on yet. I've got it here, and I don't know if this is like actually the thing, but you have got to see this picture.
No
The
idea.
videos are really awesome.
So this is apparently
Yeah, it's the Volkswagen one.
and that's
Look at the size of it.
yeah.
Yeah, it's right outside the factory. So it comes out of the factory and they go into that.
Wasn't this in a Bond movie?
Yes, it was.
Okay,
It totally was. A Bond or Mission Impossible? Oh,
Yeah, I was thinking
maybe
it was,
Mission Impossible. Yeah.
Yeah.
like Tom Cruise
Tom
rappelling
Cruise,
down the
yeah.
middle.
Yeah, he was bouncing off levels as the cars was spinning around him. Yeah, I remember that. Okay.
Yeah. So this is a really big one. Most of them would look like a regular parking garage, but you're not allowed to manually drive it. You get off at the garage door, and it'll do the rest for you.
So how is somebody driving this?
It's robotic.
So how does it get from here to there?
You park at the bay, and then it does the rest.
No, I mean, how does it get literally from here on
You
the
can-
arm?
Oh,
You
so
can
it's
see
really
the
somebody
track.
from the line drops it off there because you've done your inspection, you've done your final emission check, and then
But you can see the tracks, Tony. Like it's obviously lifts the wheels with these. See, there's
yeah.
2 little things by the wheels there.
Yeah.
There's two models, or two styles. One will pick it up by the wheels. The other is a sled, and you park on the sled, or you park where the robot can grab your car.
Okay.
It's a big spatula.
Exactly, a burger flipper.
And that's kind of what I thought, that it's like a big like a forklift, and I was thinking that it actually picked up the entire platform. But when I noticed that the platform wasn't missing, like the entire platform would come in.
But you see, the wheels on this one are on something. So this one is probably the wheel method.
Yeah,
So-
good shot. Yeah.
So can I hate to get off the parking thing, but can I just say how not surprised I was that Elon Musk hates heads-up displays?
Well, he said they suck. So
He
he
said
must
they're
have been trying like a
annoying.
GM
He
car.
said
or something.
they suck and they're annoying, right?
They're
Like,
annoying. Yes.
which doesn't really require any other opinion other than Elon's. So
I kind of like them. Even
I
the GM
stand
ones.
mollified. Yeah, that's like the dumbest opinion ever. Come on,
GM
heads-up
ones do
displays are
suck,
awesome.
but they are not as bad as they used to be.
Mhm.
Maybe he was looking at one from 1978.
Yeah,
Hopefully
the
not
guy
that far ago.
the guy who runs the futuristic car company can't like go get a new Lexus and drive it and go, yeah, heads-up display is pretty bad. And by bad, I mean good. I don't know.
We were all hoping that he had tried like the latest one. It's like, this isn't good enough. We've made it better. Here's how it is. And then they just dropped it instead.
Yeah, they dropped it.
It's a
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
It's a cost saving measure too. He didn't
Yeah,
mention
thank
that.
you.
Especially that.
He didn't mention that, but that is exactly what some
Thank
of
you.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, we all dream of the full windshield heads-up display and the augmented reality, and if that ever happens, it's a long way out.
Yeah. Absolutely. Or a number of pay grade
Dollars.
higher to
Yeah.
get it.
Yeah. $dollars.
Yeah.
Another thing they touched upon was Ryan had asked him, why does every Tesla have different door handles?
I heard the
Because they
question,
have to
got the answer.
invent new door handles every 2 years.
And he said, is that a requirement that the new model requires new door handles? And Elon didn't exactly answer the question, but they talked about some of the different handles. Most recently, the Roadster, where it's got this crazy swipe on the B pillar of the door that opens it. But hey, it's a $250,000 car, so I guess they can do what they want. But that was an interesting question that he put out there, that everybody has to have different ones. And then Elon said, well, the Model 3 handles are on the Semi at this point. So.
Yeah. And he went into depth on the Model X, which I enjoyed, seeing as I drive one every day.
Mm.
So he talked, that's right. He talked quite a bit about the Model X in this conversation as well, didn't he, Casey?
Hubris.
He did.
Yeah.
And the hubris and the Fabergé egg.
Right.
Particularly the doors.
And he talked a little bit about
The front
having
doors.
a sonar system that the military doesn't have? Or what was it? A radar system?
He had to invent a ultrasonic sensor that could see through metal.
Right. That the military doesn't even have, was the mentioning. Yeah.
Well, they probably do now.
Sure it doesn't. Yeah, sure it doesn't.
All they
Elon.
had to do was buy an X, and then they would have it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Technically.
Look at there's the military is way better at wasting money than even Elon Musk, and that's saying something. Okay.
So they talked about because he didn't want to have a bubble on the door, so they put it behind the sheet metal or the aluminum, and it was able to see through that. So that was one of the many things that were upgraded.
Instead, you get a bubble on the roof.
Yeah, exactly.
Smack in the center of the roof is a bubble. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So how about two things about the Roadster? Number one, it's going to mind meld with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to happen. And right now, who wants to put money down? Ain't never going to come out.
What, the Neuralink or the Roadster?
Yeah.
Oh, I think the Roadster would be cool.
I think
the
the
Neuralink,
Roadster's
I don't know.
coming
I'd want to be the first. to
Money
try
down
it.
the Roadster's coming out, no problem.
Really?
Yeah.
And you know what else you could probably take us up on a bet too, Russell, is that it will have a SpaceX package.
Yeah.
It's going to have some sort of thrusters.
It is not going to have SpaceX cold air thrusters. It's not
going to have
You have no. Do you
car?
Do you have any idea what would happen on any kind of street if you would fire off one of those thrusters?
It might not be enabled on the street.
Blow out windows.
I'm sorry?
They're going to subdue them somehow so they will not blow out windows or people's eardrums. They're going to have something. From this interview, I can guarantee you we are going to have some sort of SpaceX package that's going to thrust the car in different directions.
All right.
At least for cornering, braking, and accelerating.
Something is going to
maybe,
be used.
Maybe only off-road or off.
Yeah, off-road, like on trails and
like on
the woods. Like if you get the Jeep package, you also get
like on the racetrack.
Of course, I'm just kidding with you.
Well, I mean, there's people who off-road their Model X's, and they're insane.
Yes,
From
they
now
are.
on, I'm not going to refer to it as a SpaceX package. It is the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang package. Okay?
All right, let's see. That's another show title right there. Chitty Bang package. Yeah.
Another thing that they talked a little bit about was the subdued pitch for the Model Y, which we all commented on when it was happening live. We had noticed that Elon was there was like a long, I guess, history lesson of what Tesla was over the Model Y launch. And then the introduction of the Model Y was very subdued and very quick. And the car was brought up on stage, and basically it was over at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's what
Elon mentioned in this interview that he didn't want to be stealing sales away from the Model 3 since it was just out recently with the Model Y as to what was coming out. So he didn't want to Osborne affect it. So he was very subdued in his launch of that Model Y.
he didn't want to Osborne affect the Model 3, so he canceled the press conference. Oh wait, no, he didn't. He still went ahead with the press conference, just had a really bad one.
Right.
He did what
he calls anti-selling.
Or what we in the business refer to as a lot of fluffing, no.
Wow, I thought Flufferbot was done.
Where are you going?
Yeah, no.
Stop, reevaluate.
Are we doing phrasing anymore?
I didn't tell you which industry, but yeah, it was a lot of buildup and no payout. I mean, that's what made the whole thing so frustrating. We sat here and we watched and we tolerated 35 minutes of history lesson.
Oh, don't forget the 29 minutes of delay.
And the 20, yes, thank you. and all of that because he didn't want to overshadow the Model 3. So at that point, you not have the press conference and you wait for the Model 3 to settle in and then you announce the Model Y.
Unfortunately, you already announced that the Model Y was going to have a introduction in mid-May or mid-March. So he was kind of damned if he did, damned if he didn't, because if he had have delayed it, then of course Tesla's in trouble. Oh my God, they can't even announce a car that's not available yet. Like, can you hear the headlines now? Yeah. So interesting. Anyways, that was the backstory that he gave Ryan. He also talked about the third-party apps, which was something that was introduced as something that was coming with the Model S, where they were going to allow app developers to create apps for the car, kind of like the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. And his admission at this particular part or juncture was that this is something that has to come with volume of cars. If you've only got a few 100,000 cars at this point, having an app store does not really make sense. You have to be into the millions of cars in order for you to get developers on board and who will participate fully to push something like that forward. So that was his discussion.
Which I thought was one of his more cogent points during that conversation. And then he had to just kill it by saying, but we're porting Cuphead.
He did.
Well, he did talk about what they were doing instead, which was developing apps with basically a few game developers. So
for free.
That's right. They weren't charging anything. They were saying that these games could be ported quite easily, and they were going to continue that trend. So more games coming to the future. And I've never played Cuphead. Has anybody here played Cuphead?
I have no idea.
Demos. It looks fun.
It's supposed to be a cool game. I'm not criticizing the game. I just, again, so we don't have enough cars to sell apps, but we have enough cars to give away apps.
Right. So they of course, well, that makes sense too, doesn't it? Well,
it does actually, because as a developer, if you have to target a small market, you have to either charge a lot or get paid from the store host in order to put your stuff out there.
Yeah.
And he compared it to millions of iPhones. Look at what happened with Windows Phone. The minute they changed the interface a little bit, all the apps went away, and Microsoft stopped paying for the big developers to get.
That was probably something to do with it too.
And the small developers never got paid, so it's like, yeah.
So paying a game maker to put a game on and just universally give them some sort of a price for that is what they can do at this point. And they said they will continue to do that with other games being ported to it. Actually, they said the Unreal Engine is something they're going to have running on it, which would give you another number of games that could be selected from. And Cuphead is on a different platform. I can't remember which one it was at this point, but it does give them more options.
Next. So, Mark, I have to warn you, we've been punishing the viewers for quite a while now. Apparently,
I don't think so.
The screen is stuck in me.
There's a mark on Tony's name.
Is there?
Don't,
Yeah, there's a mark up to the left.
I will try to.
I'm
It
not-
changed. It changed.
It might be because I'm
Oh,
sharing.
it changed.
Yeah, I'm sharing just so
you're
that you
sharing.
don't see me. You know, all the time.
I'm not seeing that, Tony.
Yeah,
It's-
I am also not seeing it, but
Are you
Alright.
on? Are you on the
Viewers
public? Are you on the public link?
it's paused because it's loud.
No, I'm not actually. So
Yeah, the panel link is the panel link is switching. The public.
So I'm
one is
gonna
not.
choose you to present now, Tony. So now you're flagged as presenting to all, and I'm going to press stop presenting. And I don't know if that's helped at all or not,
You gotta give it a second for the delay.
Yeah. Huh.
but
Yeah.
we will try that. And if not, I can go around and manually present everybody if that's going to be an issue.
I think we might have to.
Yeah. Because God knows nobody wants to look at Tony. Let's be clear about that.
All right, so I'll start presenting people. So
Also, the rest of us are super delayed. It looks like.
okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
We'll try to get through this, people at
Sorry.
home.
We're going to get right on YouTube about that because they're
Exactly.
super responsive.
Darn free software. It's terrible. But now we're cut off. That's it. They'll just cut us now with that comment. We'll have to edit that out. What other things happened? Talked a little bit about possible Model 4, as Ryan called it. Can Tesla come out with a cheaper, even cheaper car that can be like a Model C for compact? And Elon spoke basically saying, listen, we do not have the technology to make that type of car profitable.
They
We can
barely
certainly
do
make it,
35 grand.
It's going to cost, and we just do not see a way forward at this point that we could go below the price of the Model 3 and have a car that is profitable. So that was basically a stop at that point. And then the final topic, which we got a little bit more information than we've heard before, was the Tesla pickup. Elon surprisingly jumped in and said he feels that the pickup should be 50,000 start price or less. And Ryan was even taken back and said, well, a lot of people are going to be happy to hear a number like that.
Yeah.
And Elon talked a little bit more about how the truck is going to be still the sci-fi look came out. He talked a little bit about how the truck was going to be, very much a work truck, that it would be able to do the tasks that a pickup truck does in daily life today, and that it would be able to do it better because of the battery situation and the ability to have a higher torque than a traditional truck. And Ryan, at that point, with that information, even prompted him and said, well, the teaser that you put up at the Model Y, and everyone kind of missed it, and you tweeted it on Twitter, was that the picture of the front or the back? Which we had that conversation here as well. And Elon indicated that, yes, that indeed was the picture of the front of the truck. So for those of you who have seen that previously, or on our Twitter feed, that's apparently the front of the truck. I don't think he's given away too much, but it was interesting to hear that. I wasn't expecting a price to be unveiled at this point for the starting price of the truck, or what it should be. Go ahead, Russell.
Just come on. Why does anybody expect that to be real?
The truck?
Yeah,
Or the
He's got an
truck.
obsession with glass and door handles.
Okay,
It's got to be real.
The truck, $49,000, and it's going to tow 300,000 pounds.
The X already does that now, so he's gonna make 3 of them. And
It can't tow 300,000 pounds. Yes, if you take it to an airport, it will slowly pull an airplane that weighs a lot
And
for a
so
short
will
distance.
30 men pulling on a rope.
Right,
yeah.
right.
It's
So
a bit of a party trick.
it's
is it
not towing capacity. I'm sorry, Mark.
Yeah, so that's absolutely true.
It's just why? What compels him to do that?
So is he saying that this is the front of the car? Is that what he said?
Yes,
That's what he's
that
saying.
is what
Yes.
he's saying. I just, and again, who wants to bet right now? When are you going to see the truck?
This summer.
No. I don't mean see a truck.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
See the truck on the road. It's going to drive past you.
Oh,
somebody bought it.
After the Roadster.
Good answer. That is the best answer. And I agree with you.
Yeah, that's that's one of the things they talked about the Roadster volume. They mentioned the fact that Elon believes that volume of the Roadsters should be about 10,000 units per year. Yeah. So again, that's not bad for a $250,000 or $200,000 vehicle, but it's obviously not near what the other volume vehicles are at. But it probably, they didn't talk about where it was going to be built or when it started or when the first one's expected. None of that was discussed, but the number volume wise was pegged at 10,000 a year.
So,
well, they do got to give away like 2,000.
Does anybody have any clue how many Ferraris are sold every year?
Less than that.
Yes. Yes, you're correct. Less than that. We're talking about a company that has, a reputation and whatnot. That's easily compares to Tesla's. They sell about 8,400 of their vehicles a year.
Yeah.
10,000 that's a lot. That's a lot.
Well, it's only a little bit more than them.
And of course, Russell, this is going to be a bit more compelling, I would say, too, because this is now a vehicle that can flat out beat the Ferrari. It can flat out beat anything. I think that's going to be a compelling factor in the numbers.
It might be. I mean, I had, I had more than a few interesting conversations with Tesla owners over the last couple of days. And one of them was about why would anyone want a car that wasn't as fast as a Tesla? That's what it boiled down to. The Tesla's faster. You'd be an idiot to buy something else.
Well,
it's like,
unless assuming you get one that can go on the track, then yeah.
I just,
there
if you're
are
in
other
the first 40 car,
that people buy a car, then it's the fastest car that there is. It could be nostalgia. It could be that they like a particular look, or design factor. Who knows? But I look at it to the fact that for bang for the buck, it's looking like this car, this Roadster 2.0, is going to be head and shoulders above many of the competitors. Just value. So we'll have to see if that is the case or not as we start rolling into it. But it's a ways out. We've got a few years to figure out if it's going to be what they say. And of course, what are they giving away? 500 of them?
Yeah.
Like immediately? There's a 500 available that have been won already. So
that's certainly something that they have lots of money. I just like Model Y, the Semi.
So I'm thinking the Roadster giveaways will be at the back of the line.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
How far is the back of the line?
Oh, when did you get in line?
Yeah, like would it be just from the initial orders that happened already, or would they say, you know what, we're not giving any of the free ones out until we push out 5,000 of the paid ones?
Why not? I mean, they need the money, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, I think if you're going to beta test a product, you do the free ones first and say, well, you get what you paid for.
There's that, but half of them are YouTubers and some of them are now whiners.
Oh, true.
Yes, indeed.
I didn't get 5,000 off my Model 3. So now I'm going to disparage you with my free Roadster.
I don't know where's the money for all this coming from? When is Tesla making money?
Maybe they make one free one for every 2 real ones.
Yeah, but this is
got many things going on at the same time. So
that would require I'm horrible at like business and stuff, but wouldn't that require like a 50% profit margin on the 2 to cover the cost of the 1?
Yes. I was throwing numbers out there. I wasn't.
Yeah, I know. But yeah. I mean, but that is something to truly consider.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's more realistic to say 10 to 1 or 15 to 1, but yeah, to Russell's point, they have these cars that they've already promised for free.
Yeah, they could do like the red Powerball, and just years down the line, the car shows up.
Surprise!
You're not waiting for it anymore, but here it is.
Or maybe it shows up. There's the IKEA edition, and it shows up semi-assembly required with an Allen wrench.
No, because then one would fall apart and
The
it'd be all over
box
the
of
news.
parts. Yes, the Meccano set. There you go.
It comes flat packed. Yeah.
Yeah. Next, that was it for the interview. Another story that we're going to touch base here was a Teslarati article about battery tech, about the battery tech pushing forward. And this article goes through a number of different pieces about Tesla itself and the batteries that it employs. And they talk a little bit about what I found interesting was the cans, the cylindrical cans that the 2170s are in, as well as the 1850s were in. Part of the reason they used the can was for structural rigidity. So being able to wrap the solution in a circle and put it into a solid metal jacket allowed them to not worry as much about the rigidity of the actual two different pieces and the divider in between. So they were able to skimp on some things, but with the metal jacket adding rigidity and being able to put a cooling loop around the metal jacket allowed it to cool more efficiently as well. So some of the other manufacturers out there, they manufacture pouches or packs,
prismatic cells,
rectangular in nature, and they cool them on a plate at the bottom or at the top, or maybe both. But it was kind of interesting that this article went through the different details about how the cylindrical batteries really help them in a couple ways with energy density, more economical, and of course the ability to keep them cool. So not as many manufacturers follow this cylindrical approach, although I do understand that Rivian is going to be following cylindrical approach.
Yeah, they're using the 2170s.
So kind of interesting that the one of the newest fortes into the EV world will be following what Tesla has done. So very good. And I'm just trying to present back and forth here. We'll see if we get this.
Yeah, that's
I'm just kind of bopping around. I'm sorry keeping on somebody too long. Keep reminding me, and I'll keep doing it.
I'll just pick my nose on air like
next, published price in China. Casey, do you want to talk a little bit about this, or can you help us with it? Yeah.
So Tesla is going to be starting their Model 3s for China at $47,500 in the next 6 to 10 months from Gigafactory 3. And according to Elon's Twitter, they won't have any subsidies. So they'll probably still continue
that's
to sell
interesting. There's no Chinese subsidies for the Chinese-made Model 3 SR Plus.
Because they're going to run out.
And
they
don't qualify because the battery pack isn't made in China.
It's possible. The battery pack eventually will be made in China, but
initially
by the time
it's not.
Right, and by the time all of that is done, the incentives will be gone.
Right, exactly. Yeah, because oddly enough, the Chinese subsidy and the U.S. subsidy run out at about the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That is a perfect storm of bad.
It is.
Yeah, that's not good, is it, for them?
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
but it's some people, of course, everybody out there had a different opinion on what the pricing should be, and some felt it was still too high for a vehicle that's being made in China, or partially at this point. But again, Tesla is trying to walk the razor's edge to make sure that they are doing justice to themselves profit-wise and keeping everything afloat. So obviously they know the numbers more than we know the numbers. But
plus, once they're in China, they'll be able to do ground shipping to Europe and Asia.
Will the SR Plus be shipped to Europe from China?
The question is, which is more economical?
Yeah.
Is it better to put them on a boat or send them over from China?
I guess, and I don't know the answer to this question either, but will the car be exactly the same?
I'm sure the Chinese DM is not, but not dual motor, but domestic market. But since they've already got a factory and they say it's got the whole line, why not take advantage of any savings that are available?
Because of course GM, who makes cars in both China and North America, their cars are vastly different in China.
Oh yes,
they couldn't be safetied in North America.
But don't forget, like the CT6 was made in China and shipped back to the States.
That one was, yes. Yeah. So some are, but there are numbers that can't.
Right. Yeah. But that's just a matter of if you don't build it to pass the test, it's never going to pass the test.
Right.
And so,
and obviously, in some cases, GM decides that they'll never sell this in North America, so they don't do it.
Exactly. That's money. Who wants to spend that?
It is money, but it's an interesting fact that
I'm surprised they don't have safety buyers like us. Like safety was one of the huge things why I bought both Teslas.
Yeah,
the first one and then the second one after I replaced with it. Yes.
Fair enough. And those will, the factory, we still keep getting updates. The shell looks like it's almost complete, and now they're moving stuff in on the inside and finishing the inside off. So until they can manage to fly one of those drones inside an open door, we're going to have a hard time seeing what's happening on the inside.
You keep egging them on. Somebody's going to end up in a Chinese gulag.
Tesla just recently, I guess they pulled another demand lever.
Yes, they did.
So this could be played in a number of different ways. Tesla has indicated that now Model S and X that are in inventory are now going to receive unlimited supercharging with the sale of those vehicles until the end of June. So is this, they have too many sitting on lots they're trying to get rid of? Or could this also be that they're clearing them out because maybe a refresh is coming quicker than we believe?
It's the end of the quarter. It's June. So they're doing what they always do. They're going to sell all of the test drive units, all of the service demos, all of the static demos from the mall, and none of these have the new front motor. So they all are much lower range than the new ones. What was it, 10%, 25%?
Yeah.
Ridiculous. And so that they don't get the 370 miles out of the new Model S gets. And they don't get the 300 miles of the new Model X. And what better way to incent somebody is, hey, it doesn't get quite the range, but you can recharge for free. And it's still got all the other features. Forever, yes. Until you sell it, just like my car.
So do you think that they're using this opportunity to change the door handles?
On the Model S? I wish. No.
Because maybe they invented new door handles. They have to put it.
They did not.
I think eventually
when my Model S door handles broke, they're like, yeah, here's the same one. I'm like, well, can you do the others while you're here? Then, no, when they break, we'll come back to you. But what if they're out of warranty? Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what we're hoping for, they say. Quietly underneath their voice, keeping it down.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So if you're in the market for an S or X, this is the time to pull the trigger. Get yourself some free supercharging forever.
I will say they did redesign the door handles once or twice since my last door handle replacement. But
you're still not fully confident, are you?
Did I not get a car without door handles? I was done.
Here you go. Here are some Model S's that you can buy.
What do the prices look like? They're doing discounts too, or just the
actually, it came up. It's doing that thing again. It did this. I remember it did this before on the show, where
you're in Canada.
Yeah, it comes up that I'm in Toronto. So I guess prices are.
What a great place to be!
Yes. What is M6A2? I don't know what that means.
I think this is zip code.
That is the postal code.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, indeed.
But why is it? I don't.
Because you're using a Canadian browser, Tony. Someone came into your house and changed
Who's
your
your
browser.
ISP? Does your
This is the Chrome Canadian version.
I bet your browser might have routed you through Canada. You are close.
Yeah. This guy's in Chicago. He may as well be in Ontario.
Yeah, close enough.
Push it through. Yeah.
I put my VPN through Toronto when I want to watch Blackhawks out of.
Oh, there you go. That's why.
No, I'm kidding.
When you want to watch a winning hockey team, is that what you're going to say?
Oh my God! Wow.
Where did Russell come up with that one?
Next topic. The non-sports fan dropping the
hockey bomb.
All right, I'm checking his inventory right now. I'm curious.
Next,
now I can't get that out of there.
V3 priority is going to be pushed out to longer routes at the beginning. Big surprise!
Yes. No surprise.
Big surprise! The V3 faster charging is going to be put on longer routes as a priority.
I'm also in Toronto.
Look at that! Everybody's in Toronto today.
I'm nowhere near there. I was like 101 grand for 75D if they lost their minds.
Excuse me. Yes.
But, yeah, the Canadian. That makes more sense.
No. Are you guys seeing this? These people in this picture are glitching.
They're glitching. Look,
they are glitching.
Yeah, they're glitching. I just watched Into the Spider-Verse, and I think they're crossing into other dimensions. Is what's happening here.
No comment.
Don't know. Right.
Don't know at all.
All right. So back to the article.
Who's buying Tesla EV credits? So if you were to guess an auto manufacturer that needs to buy EV credits, what would be the first one on your list?
Fiat.
I bet it would be Fiat Chrysler.
Ford?
Because of course they're not making that many EVs.
There's your indicator right there. Who is not making EVs and needs to buy them? And follow the need really is what it comes down to.
Yeah. So that was one of the names produced when this information was released. The other one was surprising. The other one is GM. GM that had built up. They've sold over 200,000 EVs.
It's not enough to replace all those SUVs they sell.
And
they canceled the cars.
Is it not enough? Like, man, I thought of having the Bolt and, of course, the Volt, its earlier EV cousin, would be certainly enough to offset, because the volume they're selling is so much greater than any other manufacturer except for Tesla. Maybe Nissan would be another one that would be up in that ballpark number.
But Nissan still makes sedans. They'll be fine.
So you think it's because the trucks that they have to hire the higher amount because their fleet number is way higher because of the sale of a truck as opposed to Nissan, who doesn't sell that many trucks.
Right. Yeah. So they've got the SUVs, they've got the trucks, but they've also got sedans. So the sedans get 35, 40 miles per gallon. The trucks get maybe 25 on a good day.
Right. Right.
And if you don't sell any cars, you're not offsetting that 18 to 25 miles per gallon. It makes sense. Yeah. Even if you have a couple Bolts and some leftover Volts.
You have more than a couple.
Okay. Up to what, maybe 100,000?
Yeah.
They're not exactly flying off the shelves. I mean, they're great cars, but
they're fine, but it's certainly they've sold a number of them, but if they're selling a monster amount of trucks, then of course
that's what I'm getting at. They're not
offsetting. You got to sell even more. Like there has to be a great amount that you have to sell. So I've even had some people mention that that they believe that maybe GM is just stockpiling credits while they're cheap. And I don't know if they're cheap or not. I have no idea what the pricing is.
Well, cheaper, I don't know before the price goes up.
If you can keep a credit beyond a certain date period. Yeah. If you were to buy a credit, do you have to use it in the same period, or can you save it for a couple of years, or are there things of that nature come into play in this? I don't know. But things to consider. Don't know. Next. What's our next topic?
Well, 5-year costs between a Model 3 and a 330i?
Right. Yeah, BMW 33i.
Well, of course, that 330i is going to be the value proposition, right?
If you just buy it and sit it on the shelf.
Except that we're on this show.
So,
right. What is it? Something crazy like 40, 30% cheaper to run the Model 3 over the 330i over the 5-year of the purchase costs, the insurance, and the maintenance of the vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got you've got certainly, and you've got that amount that just compounds over the period of time that you own the vehicle.
Right.
So does that surprise anybody here? Tony?
No.
No.
No, I didn't think so. We all know that EVs, maintenance-wise, and certainly the amount of money that you have to put in for the fuel of the car is a lot cheaper. And over a period of time, actually, the more you drive, the cheaper it gets. And of course, compounding years one after another, that just compounds the savings. So not a big surprise at all that these vehicles are certainly cheaper to operate over the period of time that you own them, which is what people don't figure into their equation of purchasing cars in the first place. A lot of people are just set to the amount that they realize that once the car has been purchased, you just have to put gas in it. You know, that's just the way it is. Yes, an oil change has to happen. They know that they have to change some fluids. They know that they have to do brake work. All those things are just basically in the back of their minds, and they have a hard time comprehending that an EV may cost a little bit more upfront, but all those behind the scenes costs dissipate greatly compared to what a traditional car is. So
yeah, getting on the point where you say they only think about it when they have to put gas in it. I criticize people all the time for driving like they forgot how expensive gas is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, it's true. It's true. And when I left a gasoline car, which was in 2014, I was doing it too. I remember driving up to, like, you were either on the gas or you were on the brake, and you were just shifting between them. Something happened when I got my first EV that I realized that, hey, you can glide and you can pulse, and you don't need to be riding the brake immediately, and you don't have to rev up to get up to that light that you're going to have to stop at anyways. Once you get an EV, you kind of understand where the energy is going, and you change your driving habits greatly. Yeah. At least a vast majority of people do.
Or even it starts with the hybrids. Anytime you get that real-time readout, and you're able to put 2 and 2 together, that what I do with my right foot and my left foot affect how much my wallet hurts.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what you're telling me is that somebody who spent between $40,000 and $100,000 to buy the fastest car in the world drives it like they drive a $25,000 Prius.
I was the least fuel consumption on the track and the second fastest on Tesla track day. Yes.
I'm putting that out there in general, folks. I'm just putting that out.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. There are a number of people that haven't switched like that. I may be coming from a different case because I started with a Chevy Volt.
Right.
So I was watching where the energy was going. And of course, Casey is the same thing. He started with a different EV at the beginning.
Yeah. Clean MPG.
Yeah.
That had to, I mean, that's like, you had that stuff. You were like a Stockholm syndrome, like.
Right.
Like I said, I did it at the track. I didn't even realize I was doing it. Second fastest on the track. And my fuel consumption was lower than the Model 3s. Considerably lower than the other Model X that was on the track.
But Casey, you must admit that you know people that don't factor that at all.
That's true.
Yeah, I have a hard time believing that the 4 of us is the ideal focus group.
For anything, really.
See, that's the beauty of this, is that just if you change nothing but the vehicle, the EV will still be cheaper to operate over the life of the vehicles than the gas.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm definitely.
There.
Nobody's arguing that EVs are more expensive to operate.
Yeah. So if somebody's like, "Hey, I had to buy a new car tomorrow because my old one's just falling apart," you can say, "Hey, do you want to raise over the next 5 years? Buy the EV."
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you like to pay yourself more over those next 5 years?
Yeah, because your boss ain't paying you more.
Yeah.
Right.
You may not have a job, but you will get more money out of your vehicle. Exactly.
Yes, I have had people, when they talk about me charging my car at home and charging my car at work, and especially charging at home, they say, well, yeah, but your electric bill went up.
Not you.
Well, no, when I charge at home,
But
they're
when
like,
you do charge at home, yeah,
they're like, your electric bill went up, therefore it's more
$1,
expensive.
$3.
And technically, they're correct, are they not, Tony?
They are correct, and I have to tell them. And just so you guys know, there's many times it's been studied. The best way to argue with someone is to start by agreeing with them. No, it's a true thing.
With you, Tony. Yes,
it's a very true thing, because if you come out hitting, they'll hit back. So when someone tells me my electric bill went up, I say, you know what? You're exactly right. My electric bill did go up, but my gasoline bill became 0. And then they're like, aha, now I get it.
And my electric bill is 0.
Yeah, see, and then you get situations like that. But the biggest thing I hear the most is your electric bill went up. Yes, you're exactly right, it did. But the overall cost of ownership and operation is lower than an internal combustion engine.
Yeah. So when I first got the Volt, my electric bill went up $30 compared to what it did before for my regular daily commute. Now, just like Tony, the other half of my commute was battery from work, but because of the length of the commute, I actually used the full charge both ways. So that was a real number. It was my $30 a month. And then it was costing me $200 a month in gasoline for a Civic Hybrid. So
yeah, and I had the exact same thing. So I was with my first Volt. It was basically $25 to $30 a month was my electrical bill went up, but I dropped the $180 I was burning in fuel per month. So I was quite happy to have a higher electrical bill and drop that 180 going forward off the finances.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So
and then the 2-year oil changes instead of every
correct.
month, every other month. Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I certainly do not miss early February standing at the gas tank or standing at the gas pump with 10 mile an hour, -6 degree Fahrenheit wind.
It's time to move.
But that's the thing. You know what it is? When it's so cold, the pump is slow. That's when you know it's cold, and you're standing out there holding this thing. Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. Well, let's let's start to wrap it up. I would like to thank anyone that's watching the show right now, but I ask you, please give us a thumbs up while you're here. Give us a thumbs up. If you haven't followed us already, press the follow button, ring the bell, get alerted when the show starts. All free. Please help us out. Give us a number and a thumbs up. We would really appreciate it. Mr. Green, have you got something to tell us about maybe some videos you're making?
Oh, yes. You can find me on youtube.com/KC That's KACEYGREEN. And mostly it's going to be supercharger reviews, but it's going to be more stuff as well. I've got some basic EV lifestyle stuff, and I think it's enjoyable. I've got a couple of nice comments from you guys and others. And if you haven't visited yet, give it a visit and drop a comment. I'd be glad to see that. Fantastic.
Mr. Schaefer, anything to say from Chicago today?
Well, shout out to everyone in the chat as usual. Love the back and forth. Last call for show titles. What I currently have is Mission Impossible Burger. That's sort of a Wheel of Fortune before and after puzzle there. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang Package.
The Chitty Chitty Bang Bang
Package. Chitty Chitty Bang Bang Package. And Full Metal Battery Jacket.
There we go. Exactly.
Nice.
Exactly.
Those are all good.
They are.
Yeah.
Mr. Frost, anything to add to the mix as we head off? Look at that! What is that crazy?
If you're a photographer like me, you use this stuff. Yeah. PelicanColorCase.com. It is PelicanColorCase.com. That's where I get my cool cases in Lego colors. Yeah, that's all I got to say.
My question to you is, can they hang uselessly on the wall like these?
Yes. Yes, they can. As a matter of fact, they can hang uselessly on the wall. Or you could carry stuff in them.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you can drive over them, and they're amazing, and they're waterproof, and it's like industry standard for carrying stuff. And I didn't really mean to go there, but since there was some talk in the chat room I bow to the chat room. Where I wanted to go was follow me on Twitter at Russell Frost. 2 S's, 2 L's, Frost, Russell Frost, or argue with me on Twitter at What You Ride Designs.
Get the same great arguments there as you get here.
Yeah, absolutely.
He hides nothing.
Same stupid insults and condescension. So,
And blocking.
Very critical
all that
nature.
stuff happens. Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah, put wool over this guy's eyes.
That's all I got. Thank you so much. And yeah, good show, guys.
Very good. Very good. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. Follow us on Twitter at The Tesla Life, at Facebook, The Tesla Life #1. And again, give us a thumbs up while you're sitting here. Subscribe if you haven't. Give us a number, and we really appreciate it. Mr. Lee Moon, thank you for the theme music that we use every week. We really appreciate it. Thanks for coming along for the ride today. Yeah, there's the Lee Moon sign. There we go. Ready to go at a moment's notice. Love it. Love it. Well, that's it for tonight, this week. Have yourselves a good week, and we'll see you next week and find out what's going on in the Tesla life.